Welcome once again to the 2015 USA Curling National Championships. My name is Joe Calabrese, and joining me in just a minute will be our commentator John Benton. Alongside me is B.A. Brian Anderson, and we are going to be featuring the women's semifinal of these championships, and it's a matchup between Team Lank and Team Sormunen. Let's meet the teams.
Hi, I'm Eileen. I am the skip of Team Sormunen, and my lead is Vicky Persinger, second Tara Peterson, third Monica Walker.
Hi, I'm Patty, skip of Team Lank. My lead is Madison Lank, my daughter. My second is Anna Bowman, and my third is Maureen Stolt. Our coach is Pete Stolt, Maureen's husband.
So there you have it. Team lineups. And we are underway. I know we're early. We were supposed to start at 4 p.m., but the officials had everything ready to go about 2 minutes ago, so we got fired up. In a little while, we'll have former Olympian John Benton in the booth with us to call the game. But as it stands right now, it's pretty wide open end here. Link drew into the forefoot, and they've just been exchanging hits ever since. This game, because there's only one game on the ice, all of the players have been asked to wear microphones. We'll see how many of them actually have. I'm pretty sure all of Team Sormunen has their mics on. We'll check Team Lank in just a minute. So as you can hear, at least Maureen has her microphone. We'll see who else as the game goes on. So this one drifts into the back four. Doesn't seem to make much difference. Sormunen's going to be hitting anyway. And both teams taking a pretty cautious approach here in the first end. With a hit, it sticks in the rings. Patty's going to try to do the same. This is Anna Bauman, who is second for Team Lank. This is the second of 3 games here on usacurl.org. The nightcap, so to speak, at 8 p.m. is going to be the men's semifinal, which is going to feature Team Craig Brown versus Team Heath McCormick. Brown lost a close game against John Schuster at noon, and Heath McCormick beat Team Corbett in the 3-4 game to move on to the semifinal. Just trading hits here. Tara Peterson with the hit, little bit of a roll. John Benton joining me in the booth. John, they tricked us here. They got started early.
They got started a little early, and we just had kind of a final wrap-up meeting with the 2 junior teams, kind of getting ready to head out to Estonia. So sorry for being a little late.
I'll be honest with you, haven't missed much, just trading open hits here in the first end.
Yep. Pretty wide open to start here. Not completely unexpected.
So Monica Walker, who throws third stones here for Sormunen. Nicely thrown.
Seeing that big move again on the ice that we've seen in the last day. You know, that rock gets across the hog line and it really takes off.
Yeah, there seems to be some areas there. Also, when it crosses center, it seems to take a big move. This one's running a little straight. It's going to be just fine.
Yeah, those are the ones right there where early in the week that rock definitely would have rolled out.
Yeah.
I think they're just taking a little more off when they nip before the games.
Yeah, Deb McCormick was here in the booth yesterday. Very concerned, she said, about rolling her shooters out, and they took a little weight off of their stones, she said. What they would have considered normal, they took a little bit less.
Yeah, it's a lot of communication. When you have it's a subtle change in the ice. It was certainly getting a lot of curl early in the week, but not that hard finish. So it takes a lot of work for a team to really communicate well about what they want to do with their weights.
Yeah, as we were sort of going in the away end in the earlier game, that intern was diving once it hit that hog line. Here's Patty Lank's first stone of the end.
Yep. 9. Yep. Whoa, just clean. Clean. Throw 9.5 right on.
Patty really playing well here at the latter part of the week.
Yeah, 10 or just a little more.
Was really sharp against our girls yesterday.
Yeah, started 1-1 and won 5 of her next 6. Dropped the last round robin against Christensen, then had the rematch, and sort of turned it around. They were ahead most of that game and just kind of able to hit things out. Maureen Stolt playing particularly well, as I remember.
Yeah, Maureen has set Patty up very well most of the week.
So not much to think about. Patty's already at the other end of the ice. Banking a little of that thinking time.
It's been interesting this year to see teams play under thinking time and that little bit of a change. You can certainly make up time pretty easily with thinking time, and that's one way is just on these simpler shots to be ready to go.
9-4. Nice weight.
Nicely done. Rolls it back towards the center.
Yeah, same brim, just the 9.
I know there was a play-down game in Canada last week that I think it ended up in a 2-1 score. They were hitting just about everything, and the word that I got back is that each team had over 22 minutes left in thinking time.
Thinking time. Do they start with the same 38?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It's good for the spectator. I think it keeps things moving, but not a lot of fun to watch, I bet.
No, it's old-time curling.
I gotta believe we'll see some more rocks in play as this game continues.
All the way.
Especially if this sticks around. Nope. Big bounce. And,
Blanker.
That's right. Blank end. And tied at 0 going into the second. So many generous donors from the curling community contributed to ensuring the 2015 USA Curling Nationals were available to you through this web stream. At this time, we want to recognize a few of those donors who contributed to the program with a gift of $1,000 or more. Thanks to Robert Bridgman, David Flippo, Dean Gemmel, Rich Lepping, Ben Tucker, Russ Lemke, and Bill Peskoff. Thanks again for supporting the web stream.
I've gotten to see a lot of you guys this year.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to go up to Blaine last month. Did some webcasting up there for the U.S. Open. It was a lot of fun. Some great curling.
As usual, you guys do a great job, and I know a lot of people are more or less addicted to the web stream from Nationals, so it's a great thing that got done, and we got you guys back here.
We appreciate it. It seems like all mammals really like our webcast. We get a lot of pictures of pets watching the web stream. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if my voice is calming for animals. I'm not sure, but it's nice to see that our viewership is at least. We got the viewership early on. It was a little over 6,000 a day early on. I don't know how it's changed over the week, but it was 6,000 humans and about 1,000 pets. So we're good with the pet population.
I don't think I'm going to comment on that one way or the other.
So Rock drifts to the back 8, and now Sormunen has an opportunity. He doesn't see that as such a danger. Trying to put up a corner guard, but this is drifting pretty fast. Let's see if it stops.
It's trying to check up.
It does. It's a little more centery than it is cornery. That makes Patty decide she wants to throw up a center guard, excuse me. And I think we may have some rocks in play this end, John.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we will. That rock in the back of the rings is likely to be a thorn in somebody's side before too long. Sweepers are right off this rock by Madison. This one's hanging out there, and it looks quite deep.
Yeah, I would say when Madison has missed, it's because she's been deep. That one lines up in the back 12. So not a very threatening house here for Sormunen. She's going to come around her guard, it looks like. Oh, now looking at it again.
Yeah, either call here is okay. I do like to come around. And with the position of that corner guard, you could actually come around this either way. Sometimes when that corner guard is positioned closer to the center line, if you come around the outside, you're not really bringing the play into the center very much.
Alright then. Line's a little tight.
I may need this to kind of over curl to kind of peek out the other side.
Yep, hard. Come on.
There's that big finish
All the way
starting to move.
hard. All the way hard.
Really trying to get that by, and it looks like it's going to wreck. That's the other danger of coming around that
Yeah.
guard that way is you come up light and you leave a center guard. So now Patty going to try and take advantage of that, get a stone wrapped around that one to the full 8 foot, maybe the top 4 foot. Anna Bauman.
Let's go. 3, 4, 3.
So 4-3, that rock hanging out there a little more for Anna.
Nice read. My fault. Nice throw.
Hear Patty say that she thought that was her fault, just a little early sweeping on that one.
To 10.
Held that line early.
Gives Sormunen another opportunity here. Now she can hit and roll under those guards. Maybe bite the 4 foot there. Get shot rock.
10 plus. Oh, just a 10. 10, 2.
Terracing right off from the beginning, maybe a little bit out. Late call for the double. And that just goes by, rolls the shooter out to the 12 foot lane third shot. Patty's going to ignore it and go around again.
Now this side has the intern has not, coming home hasn't been diving quite the same as the other direction.
If they get this rock around Joe, I suspect Eileen will make a play on one of those yellows up front.
5, 5, 5. 6, 6.
So this rock coming in.
Come on,
Gets around right to the top 4. Good shot.
It's in a really nice spot.
So there's actually a run back triple here, Joe, I believe.
Hit that a little on the high side. Drive it back into the red, into the other red, into the other red, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
just how
actually just a pickle on the low side. I think
On
she's
the
got
low
to go.
side?
Yeah,
Okay.
not much though.
Okay.
Just inside her nose. That's
Oh,
gotta
she's
come
playing
up.
the other turn. That's why I was like, all
That's
right.
got to come up.
Here we go.
She gets the 1 off the 4-foot. It's a good shot.
Yeah, it sits in front of the other 2 length stones, so if Patty plays the inside roll, she probably will clip her own in the back.
She's got to be careful. You know, this is one of those points where, you know, Patty's laying second and third right now, but a misstep here could leave Sormunen laying second and third with the hammer. It's a big spot early in this game for Maureen.
Yep.
On and off. It's usually a good sign.
This is hanging a little bit. It's got to get to the inside. There it is.
Look
There's
at that go.
There's that move.
Look at that go.
Roll. No.
She clear the back one? Not quite. Does it get out? Still sticks.
I think it probably is 5th shot.
I'm right here.
I think Lank is 1 and 2. And 5. 4 or 5. It's tough to
Yeah,
tell.
hard to tell.
Our camera angles are not great on this side. We're definitely well behind the button.
So Eileen's going to come around, play a little safety shot here, try and get something into the rings.
Good. 7, 8. Hold. Yeah, okay, 7. Line's good. Wait for it if you can. Gotta go here soon. No, we're good. We're good. Finish it. Finish it. Yep. It's 8. 8.
Calling 8. That
Yep,
rock is
yep.
going to be behind the tee. They want to make sure that
Yep.
it gets buried.
All the way. Hard for line. Hard for line. Go, go, go. Okay. Good.
She'll have to corner frozen to Lank's rock in the back of the rings. And setting up pretty good for Patty to steal if they can get one buried around here. But again, Eileen does have 2 rocks to use in the front of the rings. Maureen's rock on the way. Staying off of it. This one is hanging out there more than the last one. Trying to take that big bend. There it goes. Just corner freezes.
Nicely done.
Give me a touch less. That weight should be pretty good. Gotta go. Hi, Ben. 4, 5. Roll if you can. Roll if you can. 4. Gotta be here though. Yep.
Working this one for weight.
Only if you have to. Only if you have to.
It'll start coming down the hill right about
Hard.
now.
Yep, get it here.
Got to get it into the 4-foot.
Hard. Get it here.
It's
Yep,
a nice
everything.
bit of sweeping here by the front end. Dragging as far as they can. Little light, but in a pretty good position to tap. So happy 28th birthday to Monica Walker. Hey, today's your birthday.
So I didn't see the call here. I assume Patty's going to be throwing a guard on this. Force Monica to take a look at either peeling or doing something with one of those yellow stones.
Yeah, good opportunity for a run back on one of those stones if Sormunen chooses.
Right here is great.
This is one of the more difficult things on ice that has that late finish, is throwing a guard,
Great judge.
getting the line right. Because in a lot of cases, they will actually curl less.
We can tap it so this bumps in. But I want to throw enough that it gets at least here. So like solid back line.
Jam it in there. Yeah.
So they're throwing a tap here. Sounds like backline weight, and I believe they're looking to tap the
Like a solid back line.
yellow guard that's furthest to the right there.
Into ours in there or straight into that red.
If they hit this right, they could be lying 2 under cover here.
So it's 95.
Drive the left yellow back right onto that red.
It's all there. Hack. Stay close. Stay close. Close. Whoa. Yep.
Coming down the hill.
Hard. Hard, 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 hard. Yes, yes.
She's really
Hard,
close.
hard, hard.
Look at this.
What a beautiful shot that is.
Not quite enough to lie to, but right to the pin. Great shot.
Discard that to get the force.
That was a really good read on that ice. Got the broom in the right spot.
She's got the center one too. I don't know if that's.
She left her shooter in almost the identical position, just a little higher up. Play a very similar shot next time if she needs it.
Yeah, I guess take that away from her again, huh? Yep. Do you want to go across the center line? Do you want to go outside in? No, let's go across the line. So what are we guarding out for that one? The one she just threw, I think. Because the 4 is going to hit the 8 first.
Tough position here for Patty, having a guard with all those yellows in the 8-foot.
Yeah, position somewhere right there is what Patty's looking for. Ideally, if she could cover just a little bit of that other rock too. But that's a pretty precise guard. Because Eileen actually, with that center line guard, has some margin for error there. She could tap it back, get to the center line side of that center one, and drive it back on the other red that's sitting out on the edge of the 4-foot.
Right here's great. Right here is great.
In fact,
Might be able to redirect for some sort of double there too.
yeah, a redirect for a couple, at least a couple. Have to see the overhead to get a good idea.
Great shot.
It's pretty much where Brian had the rock, but didn't really cover much of the
Right.
one in the center.
There's actually a run back double there for 4.
Yeah. If you were to somehow hit on the inside of the red there,
Yeah,
redirect it towards the one behind the one on the button, could get 4.
so the center line yellow, back that way, and back into that one. That would be for 4, but I think she's playing lighter weight here. I think she's just playing for 2. Knowing that she does have that redstone as a kind of a catcher on the side of the 4-foot.
Yeah, you could redirect it in off of that. Maybe get 2 out of it that way.
It's pretty good weight. Sounds like it's out there a ways. This
has
has
got
got
a
a
lot
curl.
of that red right now.
Yeah, just set that one out a bit. So a score of 1 for Eileen.
And Lank forces Sormunen into 1 in the second, and she'll take a 1-0 lead over Patty going into the third. The web streaming of this 2015 U.S. Nationals is being brought to you through the generosity of the curling community. Please consider supporting similar programs in the growth of the sport in the United States with your own donation to USA Curling. Donations can be made through our website at www.usacurl.org and clicking on the button Donate Now. So over on the left-hand side, you can see some of the rankings. These are the lead. Debbie McCormick got into a game late in the draw through 90%. But overall, Steph Sambor, the true, I would say, number one for the week. So, Sormunen going to throw, I think, a center guard here. If I heard the front end correctly.
Got line. Got line. Line's good.
Yep, looking for a guard.
All the way, girls. Just a two. Okay, we're losing line. Curl, over and off. Over and off. Good judge. Good.
Puts up a long center guard. And as we've seen Patty do quite a bit, sort of drawing around the center stuff with her first stone.
It's interesting, you know,
5, 4, 3, 4.
it's a fairly typical play.
Gotta keep it moving.
The critical thing with coming around the center guard with the hammers to keep the rock higher in the rings so that a freeze by the team without the hammer doesn't really do them much. And this one comes up light and actually becomes a center guard. That's the other danger.
Right, that's the danger of playing around. So you may make a shot for the other team.
Right. Really changes the complexion of the end right away.
So this allows Vicky to try to come around both guards.
6. Tons of room. Okay, we'll get room.
They don't mind if it comes into the 4 foot at all.
Starting to move. Really moving. Down. Starting to move. Top 4.
There's that big finish. Would love this to settle down right in top 4.
Good.
Right to the button. A little deeper than you'd like, but still in good position.
410. Yeah, I just had a 4-1.
So real important shot here, I think. As
8.
why don't get yourself down to it if you can.
Going down a bit.
Bumping here is probably not a bad result at all. Get it off the button. You probably aren't bouncing far.
Coming down. 8, 8, 9, 9.
It's got to come down the hill, though.
Yeah.
Looks like she'll have a little piece, but she's not going to move that rock a ton.
Yeah, didn't keep her shooter out front. Let it drift behind. That's kind of a mistake.
Yeah, so far, Madison's struggling with her weight a little bit.
Top 4.
Okay. Is that the same brim as yours, Vic?
Yeah.
All right.
So now Tara's turn to come around, try and get one buried.
Well then. All the way to the back one. Yeah, to the back one. Get room still. Yep. Backing.
So they're long. So
Yep.
gonna sweep this one, try and hold it on that back rock of Patty's.
Yep, all the way.
Make sure it doesn't curl
Yep.
by.
I don't know if this was as heavy as they thought.
Yep. They ended up calling 8.
Good.
They swept it the whole way and pretty much got it to that 8-9 type position in the house.
Well, with Eileen laying 2, Patty's not super comfortable right now. She's going to go and try and get rid of at least 1, but hopefully 2 of these center guards. Anna's peel coming down, just gets the 1 guard.
Still like right in here. Okay.
Sure, it's okay.
Little catcher's mitt forming over there.
And so Tara's going to come around again. This one you really, really have to leave the full 8 foot.
4. Line's good.
Line's good.
Just top 4. Got room. A little more room. Room. A little further out. 5. Starting to move. Here comes. Just a 5. Top
Tons of room yet.
Just a 5. Whoa, we're not moving. Finish it. Yep.
That one didn't catch the break like the rest of these rocks have. Just didn't finish in there. Could be a pickle more rotation on that or a little bit straighter stone.
So Lank looking to remove this.
9.5.
Maybe clip something out of the back.
Late sweep on this one, curling up. Kind of jams it in the back there and it rolls off and it's corner frozen to the Lank stone in the back 8-foot.
Not the best result.
No, and that's, you know, that rock moved on Patty unexpectedly, I think, and couldn't catch it with the sweeping.
So the birthday girl, Monica Walker, has a chance to draw around all this. She can get to the top 4.
Right then.
I cut off that whole intern side.
Yep. Gotta go line 2. Yep.
This sounds light. They're really working it for line and weight.
Yeah. We can get around it. It's on it. It's on it.
Little indecision there.
Good. Fine.
Ends up with a guard, so it's not all bad.
Patty gonna try to tap this up.
I'm a little bit surprised here
Okay.
with this call. She wants the tap. If it's made well, the shooter will roll away and will allow Eileen to come down and freeze to it and potentially force her to 1. Might be more inclined to peel that center guard off and make Eileen choose.
Try to live to fight another day.
Yeah. Really working this one hard, and it sounds
Man.
like they're on the guard already.
That would have been light anyway.
So,
Guard.
Sormunen lying first and second,
Right about here.
but it always gets a little scary when
I'll give you this
the
thing.
other team's got
Absolutely.
3rd, 4th, and 5th count in there.
Yeah.
Although I don't know that that back yellow is going to go much of any place right now unless the rock positions change.
3. A little more. Okay, well. 2.5, 3. A little more room. Might need to take a rub. 3. Yep. Yep.
They're going to play tap.
Plan B here, I think.
This one running straight. And that doesn't do much. Is going to leave a hole for Patty to be able to escape this end.
So I'm gonna try to hit and roll on her own. On her own.
Yeah, she'd like to get under her own. That's a pretty tough roll coming this way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
This one's got a curl. She's really close. Looks like a
Oh, excellent
Great
shot,
shot.
there. Got a good third of it hidden, and you know that problem that was for problem for Lank earlier with that yellow-red combination. It's now a problem for Sormunen.
I don't know. I don't like the guard to give him one. You got all of it, I guess. Right. I just don't know how. Unless you were all the way around. Can't really go up there. I think you could probably still do this.
Yeah,
I don't know how much that helps us.
right, that's the thing.
This
You
is
guys
a
like this nose?
Not really.
Why don't we just guard?
Let's just go talk about it.
Front end gonna go talk it over.
yeah. I'm not so sure. I don't.
Can she get to this one though? If we
The
just
nose
let her?
double there is probably
Tap
not a
that
bad
for
shot.
Have to. Not right now. She couldn't. No.
I just don't really like doing anything that's going to jeopardize our one rock in the
I
back.
know.
I think we
Yeah,
should
that's what we're
put it
thinking.
right
Like,
here.
It's nice to have another one in there, but
Yeah.
there's not really a good way to
Yeah. Even if
either
you
like draw big around.
even if you were like corner froze onto this, so she couldn't use it.
Yeah, I don't
You
think
can't
it'll.
get there.
You can't get past that.
That's
and
true.
still- I think guard, yeah.
Okay. What's she gonna do?
So they are concerned that, if you play that nose double, it hangs there a little bit. You could clip your yellow out in the back and leave them laying 3 or potentially 4. So they're just going to throw a guard here. Try and force Patty to take one. Well, I think no matter what they do here, Patty's going to have a shot to be able to get into the 4-foot.
She should
Either
have that intern draw through the
Yeah.
hole, I would think.
the intern draw or a tap.
Yeah.
3.
Plenty.
Can we tap?
Yep.
3.
Yep.
So they're way out here again, deciding to go for another tap on what was to be a guard.
Maybe I'll tap this over enough.
Go, 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 go.
May have
Yeah, cut down. Oh,
cut it
yeah.
off enough.
But she may be able to tap her own now.
She may
down
be
the
able
middle.
to make that run
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
and lay 3. It's dangerous though for her. She might
Sure.
end up picking her own off the button. And I think the intern draw is probably the wisest as you saw Patty kind of. Oh, you can't even get there now.
Yeah, I think that
That
guard
shooter's
moved
out there.
over.
Yeah.
Could try tapping your own into your own. I think on the outturn side, but that's a real tough shot.
Yeah, she could just play the tap, the straight tap into
I
the
think
top
that's what
4
they're
foot.
trying. It's what it seems like. Well, that's not a lot of ice
No, I think Patty's actually going to try and angle this back
into the yellow.
with control weight into
Yeah.
the yellow. If it over curls a little bit, they're not going to be too concerned because both of those rocks should stay in the rings. Will open up shot stone though. So I think she's got to hit just a little more than the inside half of this rock. It's not very much weight at all. Oh, I see. She's not playing the tap. She's playing the straight draw around the yellows.
Close.
Patty throws
Very
a little more
close.
rotation. That's a great shot.
Oh, look at that.
Nice shot.
Nicely done.
Very nicely done. But did she just show Eileen how to get there?
Yes.
Just like back here, just enough to like bump this and roll on top.
Yeah, Eileen's looking to somehow cut down Patty here now. She can somehow get to the inside half of that
If
stone.
anything, though, we have to crash here. We can't open this up because that leaves the. So we got to play it.
Some danger here, though, John. If
Or we just guard and give her this draw for 2.
she clips that one in the top 8, Patty may have some sort of shot on that one in the back 4.
Yeah. So they're
You like trying to follow her in?
so if you follow her in with just draw weight and
She
just
just did it.
try and
Yeah,
tap
we just can't clip this open. We'd have to play it pretty tight to this.
right to that spot.
But I don't
But
think it
Patty
opens up her draw. I mean, this'll split over
barely
if we
missed
did hit
that
it.
top red,
Yeah.
even with
Right.
draw weight.
So we'd have to throw like back 4 and just kind of nick off this and
You
sit.
kind of have to spin it though, because you got to get. Yeah.
Yeah.
She had a really good handle on it.
But we can't.
That was a
It's a big
good
shot.
observation there. Noticing how much handle she had.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd have to be like back 4 weight.
Yeah, I've seen
Get through.
Patty make
We can play
some
it real tight and
amazing
if we roll off
shots.
that,
Uh,
Yeah, we'll just.
right.
The guard would go there.
I believe it was
She came out
I believe
here,
it was here last time.
but
Uh,
We're gonna put
She threw a spinner
He's
through
not
a
like
backwards
that.
port, meaning the high guard.
Just enough to.
You know, she was playing the turn against the high guard, and the only way she could make it, and I think it was, might have been the first or third end of that game, and she made it. It was pretty amazing. So they have decided to try and follow her in here. Just a little less ice, if I'm looking at it right. They have to make sure they don't clip that outside red one. 9-10. That's back line. She's got to let it come up. She cannot clip that outside red one. Wait on it. Wait on it. It's close. It's close.
Well, they're going to clip that one in the 8.
Oh, that's trouble.
She's got to look at it.
She does.
But she's not going to do it.
She's just going to take her 3.
Yeah.
It would be a pretty difficult shot.
Somehow come down and you, a little in-turn tap, move that out. Maybe you get 4 or 5.
Yeah, I don't know if it's there with
The kind of weight they'd have to throw to get through the hole.
They're now looking at the angle run.
I like that call a lot.
Patty says, no, I don't think so. I do like that call. It's
if you
well
get by
over
the
half
guy.
of that is open.
Yeah. I don't think you'd hit that too thin.
That's a shot for 5 right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked that Patty didn't get up and look at that again, but I think she's happy just going for her 3 here.
This looks a little tight.
This is over curling. She gonna make it by the guard?
No.
Clips it. Might still work for her. And it does. Spins right in.
3 points for Patty Lank, and she now takes a 3-1 lead over Eileen Sormunen after 3.
Some good sweeping there. Hold that line.
That's some good sweeping, definitely. If you want to reach John in the booth, it's pretty easy. All you got to do is use that hashtag 2015 Nats. Yeah, or post on our Facebook page at 12th End Sports Network. And you could, we're looking for something to put up there. Hey, there he is, John Benton in the icebox. He's got a, he's layered himself, I noticed, since that picture. It's a little chilly up here.
I was on the coaching bench. Most days it was 7 layers. so I'm trying to get down to something closer to normal, but there's a chilly little breeze coming in here from the back.
Yeah. Just like his burritos, he likes his layers 7. So here's Madison. After putting that 3 spot on the board, Lank's got some control of this game. Going to come into the 4-foot.
That burrito comment was very Andrew Cavallon-like.
Oh boy. Sort of the official voice of Olympic curling. It's not a bad person to be compared to. I like that.
Yeah. You know, any guy who could come up with putting on the Pritz for Maria Pritz of Sweden, you got to give him credit.
So Madison, when she wanted to be high, she wound up deep. Now that when she wanted to be a little deep, she wound up high. Struggling a bit with the weight. Left one out there for Sormunen, and gonna throw the corner guard here. Now let's hit that center line. Should move pretty well.
Just trying to get it off that 4-foot line. Again, that's a little tighter to the center line than they'd like that.
So Madison can make up for that guard if she can sink one around real well here.
And this one is diving in there pretty good.
This may overcurl a bit.
That one not having a ton of rotation on it.
No. We talked before with some folks about the amount of rotation you might need on ice like this. Seems to be the consensus between 2.5 and 3.5 rotations at least.
Yeah, I think 2.5 was probably good early in the week, but that was one adjustment that we tried to make mid-game in our game against Patty last night, Team Christensen. You know, we wanted to throw a little bit more rotation, take a little bit of that snap out of these shots. It's a hard thing to do. It's a skill that has to be practiced to be able to add or reduce rotation based on the ice conditions. Vicky having her struggles here as well, trying to get around and wrecks the guard, leaves the center guard. Another end, setting up well for Patty here. Patty gonna rip the guard. Just ticks it over a bit.
So Patty's still in a great position here.
I like this here. Okay. This hack. Okay.
So with that rock a little more than half exposed. Hey!
Hey, who's that?
It's Terry Kolesser and Brian Anderson.
Terry always keeping us on our toes.
Delivering my fifth end break questions. I appreciate that.
Whoa, whoa.
I need to be handled a little like a bear, you know. Like Terry takes good care of me.
With it yet?
Making the hit and roll under the corner here. That's a great shot by Terry.
Oh, that's really nice. Not quite under the guard, but it's drawing the play away from the center. Which is definitely objective there. That rock so well placed on the forefoot.
I'm going to make a haphazard guess that if Anna makes this shot, Eileen's likely to play the outturn come around those two guards on the center line. Either that, or if this rock sticks around back there,
That's a nice shot.
Eileen may freeze to it. Or hit and roll,
Low
but
bumps, okay? Okay.
the freeze is there.
Not a particularly dangerous stone back there, but a freeze here is a pretty good shot. Freeze a little to the inside, maybe
Down to it.
show
a little on the intern side, and
Well, the nice
maybe you can
thing,
get some sort of miss out of Lank.
yeah, the nice thing here is that you can throw a little tap weight here, and you're not going to hurt yourself. Really like it to curl up though. There's another rock of Tara's that just isn't moving. Wonder if she's got a little straighter pair of rocks than the rest of her team. We've seen a couple of hers just run straight.
So John, you know, some of these championships, once you get to the playoffs, the players get to pick their own stones. Is that the case for these playoffs?
Yeah, that's been the case for all of the playoff games here. Interesting thing was that, and we saw this at juniors, with 2 playoff games going on, the teams only got to pick from half of the house. So they got to pick from, in our case, it was sheet A, sheet B, and half of sheet C.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 4 rocks of whatever color,
Right.
and the opposite for the other half of the house. but there was a caveat thrown in that mix in that there were men's tiebreaker games. So
Right.
we ended up not being able to use any of the C rocks. But now that we're down to single games being played, they'll be able to pick from the whole house any 8 rocks that they want. They can mix and match from any sheet. So there's a lot of time spent doing rock matching by these teams. So you would think they have the rocks that they really like.
Mm-hmm.
Not deep, not deep. Yep, finish it. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Trying to get this rock around those center guards.
It's a nice shot right there. Just above the tee line. Well buried. Instead of following down on the out turn, Patty's going to try to come down on the in turn side.
So Marine shooting 79% at this point. Just wants to freeze down to this rock. They're off of this. Looks a little longer than they might want. Starting to settle in. Wow, and that rock just stopped.
Like same thing?
Not too bad. I mean, it winds up in a pretty good position for Lank if she wants to run it in. And it cuts off some of that forefoot for Sormunen.
Plus.
Monica Walker's going to look to try to come around again on that out turn side. Freeze to her stone that's already there.
Still there, room.
This one's gliding a little more. Whoa, 8.
Want this to come down.
Oh, it's coming down.
Really got to catch that hill.
There's the move.
It's trying.
Oh, this
It's
looks really good.
It's got to get a little inside of nose. Still pretty good with that tap. Patty does have that run in, but I don't think she can get it back to shot rock very easily. So it probably comes off that top one.
So maybe you throw this a little less weight. You make sure you don't bounce that far.
Well, you want to make sure the yellow leaves the house being up 3-1.
Yeah.
You know, I'd probably throw good control at it. You know, if you can stick it right on that top yellow and still sit in front of shot rock.
Yeah. That'd be a great shot right there.
Of course, if it spins into the open at all, Eileen could come down to it and get a roll in. But that's essentially what we're talking about, that red one onto the top yellow.
Patty's shooting 100% so far.
Not bad.
No, not bad at all, but I probably just jinxed her. It's like talking about a perfect game. You never talk about a perfect game.
On and off.
There's a move there. I think you gotta go. No, they got it. This looks good.
She doesn't have a ton of weight on it.
Not a ton of weight, but this is sort of what I was talking about. Oh, they didn't move it far enough.
Boy.
Needed to be heavier for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I think if Eileen wanted to just freeze into that pocket of her own, I don't know what.
Come around on that out turn side again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
like
sh-
that.
Just leave that.
You know, she could even come off of her
As
own.
close to the back, right? Okay.
I don't know what Patty can do.
Play. Okay. So just speed her to it. Yeah, if we need to use it. I had Monica right here. Seems to be good. Okay.
So about 6-7 feet late probably for Lank, and this leaves
4 is probably good for her.
a draw on a side that they've just made twice in a row.
4, maybe 405 for you. Okay.
It's nice. Okay, I got room.
Pretty happy with the weight.
Room. Okay.
Gotta make sure it doesn't overcurl here.
Oh, they are really close to that red.
They're
Just
on the
sneak
red.
it by the first one. Push Lank in for second stone. And kind of pushed her out into that same position she was just in.
You know, and
Throw the same
that's
tap there.
identical line to Tara's rock. And it looked like she had to wait to get there.
Yeah,
And again,
Push it back a little
I
bit.
don't know if it's a little more rotation for Tara,
right. But
but that definitely hooked more.
I mean, I don't mind giving her one. Let you jam in that pocket too. Can she get that out of there, do you think? I don't think she can. Do you?
so, John,
I don't think so.
run that red in,
Probably
try to
can't see
stuff
her.
it in there, or do you
Boy,
just try to play some sort of guard and cut Sormunen down to one?
Yeah.
I don't know if Eileen has much. If you play the guard, she can play a board weight tap on the rock she just threw and maybe get 3.
Mm-hmm.
So
The guard, maybe. Okay.
you might have to throw a guard on the right side of the sheet,
Mhm.
cover those yellows, and let her draw for 2.
Yeah,
Can you
'cause it
see any of this?
doesn't seem to me like they can
Probably
get
not.
in on the
I don't think
inside
she
of
can
that red
come off
rock to
that.
get it out
She can't see enough of it.
straight, so
Yeah,
Okay.
the only
Just
way to
put
get
it
at
to
it is
the
through
side.
that one in the 8-foot.
yep. So Patty's gonna.
Because if you angle it to here, I don't know how she gets it out. If you play back 4,
Maureen liking this tap.
whichever. We're good on time. Yeah,
Either call's pretty good.
Don't want to bounce
you got it.
here, I don't think.
Yeah, it'd be pretty hard to do anything really bad here. You're just gonna angle it into that pocket. You know, if the rock hangs out, you may not end up with shot rock, but you're gonna limit Eileen's chances for 2.
Yep.
You're gonna close the scoring area down to basically the button. If you make it good, then Eileen's gonna have to try and throw more weight at that rock in the 8-foot. Try and get anything out of it.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to move this Sormunen rock too far.
On its way.
Yep. Yep. Hard.
Ooh, that rock is moving.
Definitely don't want to catch one of those guards out front.
They're holding it. Are they tied? The top one,
Oh,
not
just
quite.
clip it. Did they open that up enough?
Don't think it is, but they actually took away the tap on the other side
Yeah.
that we were looking at before. So there may be a hit and roll. There may be a draw. Certainly a draw to the button if she wants it. Hit and roll is a little more dangerous because you risk tapping your own out.
Yeah.
So the draw is likely the call here.
You got it.
So Eileen having a rough game so far, degree of difficulty up a bit. Has a chance to make up for all that right now. Somehow sneak one into that button area. Get 2. Needs the full 4-foot. And that last stone is away.
Room. Can't hurt it.
So the big thing is
Need a breath?
to make sure that you get to the inside of this red stone. There it goes.
Looking to play a little
They
bit
need
off
a
the
rub.
rub here.
Hard.
Did they get it?
Oh, they did. Nice shot.
Great call by Tara.
Yep, absolutely. So, Eileen Sormunen with that 2 ties up the game with Patty Lank after 4 ends, 3-3. John, I've got a special guest commentator who's going to be taking over for me this end. His name is Ian Strong. You might have met him in a 5th end break a little earlier in the week.
Yep.
14-year-old kid who lives in the general area and is not just a great curling fan, but very knowledgeable about the game. And I'm going to turn it over to him.
Sounds good, Joe. Hey, Ian, welcome to the booth.
All right, hi John. I'm happy to be here.
It's pretty awesome. We've spent a little time together this week chatting about all sorts of curling things, deliveries, and it's pretty cool to have you come in and do some announcing here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here for most of the week at Nationals, and more importantly, just to be here with you, learning from you, and all the other knowledgeable curlers here.
It's always fun. Anybody who knows me knows that I love to teach and share and talk about the game pretty much nonstop. So
Yeah. I'm like that too. You know, at school, talking about curling, people are like, you know, what are you doing over the weekend? I'm like, oh, I have practice. I'm like, stupid curling.
All the way. Shoot it there. Yep.
that was a great shot for 2 by Eileen there. And the sweepers communicating well, letting Tara know that they needed the rub. So tie ball game again. First rock goes in the rings.
What would you get on that? Am I just throwing them really slow?
92.
So Patty throwing up the corner guard here.
Good communication by the front end, asking her time, seeing if she needs to adjust anything. I like that.
Sure.
So Ian, what do you think the biggest thing is that you've learned this week? Just watching or chatting with any of the players, or
Definitely some people like Paul Putsavar, some things about tuck delivery. Joey on Team Schuster, learned some tuck delivery things from him. Some of the 5 elements things from you that I'm going to go back to Midland and practice.
good.
And yeah, I can't wait to just try and adjust some of the things.
So I think that was intended to be a tap to the forefoot, and that rock just got going. Gonna allow Patty to play a double here and stick the shooter. Won't be underneath the corner guard unless they get a little bit of a roll up.
9.5. 9.
On and off, that's usually a good sign. Nice double there by Madison.
Got it. Just looking for the hit here
Get it this way.
from
10.
Eileen Sormunen.
Yeah, 9.5. Oh.
Yep. Yep. Hard.
This rock curling quite a bit. Looks like they'll stick around. Now Patty has a choice. And the choice is?
I think, yeah, she'll go. Looks like she's going to go draw behind that corner guard.
So this is I commonly mention this when I'm commentating these games. It's a thing that a lot of league players and younger players may not, do is, really use a corner guard game. A lot of players would be tempted to walk up and hit that yellow stone. But with the hammer, the top players, they don't really worry about a stone in the 8-foot, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to use that corner guard. They're going to get a rock in for shot, and now Eileen is forced to peel off the corner guard. And if Patty was able to replace that corner guard for the entire end until her shots, she'd be able to split the house and get 2, even though that yellow one was sitting there the whole time.
Yeah, and it definitely,
No, we're fine.
No, another thing that I've learned, especially watching Derek Corbett or Brandon Corbett's team, was sometimes you just have to take your own rocks out in order to have something happen. At one point, they had a group of a couple yellow and reds, and they had to hit it with some control weight, and one of them rolled out one of their stones. But sometimes you just have to do that in order for something to happen.
Yeah, getting rock position sometimes is more important than having multiple rocks in the rings.
Yeah.
3, 2,
Patty's girls
2.
just trying to get this corner guard back into position, hide that rock in the rings. Might over curl a bit, and it does.
Look like most of that stone behind it is just peeking out.
Are you like this? No, I like 9-5. Okay.
So ideally here, Monica is going to be able to hit the stone and hold the shooter in the rings. And that'll ensure that Patty can't throw another draw behind the corner. Working this one most of the way down.
Might stick around. It's going to stick around.
It's a great shot.
I love that. That's good.
So now Patty can't really ignore those stones. She can't use her corner guard anymore unless she can get a roll with the hit. So she doesn't really care if she gets the double here. She's really looking to get that roll underneath the corner guard.
Yeah.
Set up her deuce again. That release looked a little inside out to me. This rock's not curling off that center line. She's just going to clip the one.
Just going to roll out. Not going to be able to sit behind that corner guard
You like the PL?
like I think they were intended to.
So what's your favorite kind of shot to throw in?
As a lead, my favorite kind of shot to throw is a draw, especially that first shot being the most important, other than, in some opinions, the last skip or zone.
Sure.
So definitely that's something big in the game is if your lead, some people say leads aren't important, but if your lead doesn't do good in his or her shots, then yeah, you're going to be chasing the other team.
That's very, very astute of you.
Is it?
Yes. You know, a lot of people, when they come into the game, they think that the positions on a team are kind of like a ladder. You should just go from lead to second to third to skip, and it's definitely not the case. You know, having a great lead and a great front end, you know, is a huge part of, you know, these top teams here.
Talking to Annie Swissholm, I asked her a couple things about skipping, and she told me she's been a lead all her life, and she wouldn't take that skip position if she was offered it. She would want to stay lead.
So wide open end here. The corner guard went off. Couple exchanged hits. Likely headed for a blank here in the fifth end. Yeah, I've had the good fortune of, you know, really being able to play every position at a relatively high level. You know, played lead for John Schuster, of course, and you know, there's a very specific skill set that goes with each position, and you know, that's I like the fact that, you know, I've been able to experience all of those different things, and I encourage, you know, young players like yourself to go and experience, you know, all of the positions. You know, take your chance at skipping and playing third and learning how to communicate from those positions as well, because no matter what position you end up in, it makes you a better player at that position to understand what your skip needs from you.
Yeah, and definitely I've had the opportunity to skip in the second half of a league night, and we lost every game and tied one, but it was a win-lose situation. I did win quite a bit of strategy and learn kind of communication and what our skip is going to look for in the future. So just sticks around on the 12-foot. Looks like Eileen Sormunen's going to come out, go for that takeout in the 12-foot.
Yeah, these teams didn't cooperate with you. I know you were probably hoping for 14 or 15 rocks in play, and
How'd you know?
telestrating and. So Eileen just really wants this rock to stick around. Running a little straight on her, finishing up.
Just going to hit it on that outside corner and roll out.
So that allows Patty to easily blank this end. And unless something drastic happens, like a nasty pick or something of that kind, Ian, we're going to go into the fifth end break here tied up.
She's going to be able to keep that hammer in the sixth. Always a good thing to do.
And that rock's on its way. And we're not going to see it pick, I don't think.
No.
So we're going to have a blank end as we go into the fifth end break. Ian, what do you predict for the rest of this game? What do you think is likely to happen here?
I definitely think, both teams are aggressive teams, but I think Sormunen's going to come out victorious if I had to predict. Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me in the booth, and I'll see you later. I'm sure we'll talk some more curling.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks.
So we are at a 3-3 tie. Patty Lank with the hammer coming into the sixth end. And we're going to turn it over for our fifth end break with Joe Calabrese and Brian Rich.
Thanks, John. Like John said, I'm here with Brian Rich, who is with the Hit the Broom podcast. Welcome to the fifth end break.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is Hit the Broom exactly?
Sure. So hitthebroom.com is a site that I launched a little before the Olympics last year to really help translate the sport of curling for fans and kind of give fans an opportunity to understand the sport a little bit better, to connect with the sport and hopefully watch more and become more involved.
And so it's sort of a natural extension of a book you wrote, The Casual Fan's Guide to Curling?
Yeah, I put a Casual Fan's Guide together to help during the Olympics, particularly because we knew that the viewership for curling is always very high during the Olympics, and wanted to, help people understand a little bit more of what they were watching and maybe have that carry over into some of the non-Olympic years so that we can keep the fan base growing.
So what are some of the topics that you talk about in the podcast?
For the podcast, I try to, particularly right now, focus on the Curling Night in America. This week I'm out at Nationals, so I'll translate some of that sort of after the fact. But, what are we seeing from a strategic perspective? What are we seeing from a culture perspective? I had a great episode that's right now airing where I talked to the guys from UniWatch, which is an ESPN blog about design and uniforms. And we just talked about the different reasons and history of team uniforms and the ways that the colors communicate something about the team or communicate something about the country that they're representing. And so things like that, things that, people who are not deeply obsessed with curling or deeply knowledgeable about curling might find interesting.
So your focus right now on the podcast is Curling Night in America. So what are you doing here at Nationals?
This is obviously the event for curling in the U.S., so I wanted to come here and see some of the teams and really try and understand what happens a lot of the times off the ice, what happens in between matches, what goes into the ice preparation, things that you won't see watching the live cast, for example, because it's so focused on the competition itself. You guys do a great job calling the match. I want to try and bring a little color for curious fans out there about things that are happening around the match.
So what do you think is important for a fan to understand about curling that maybe isn't already covered?
I think you guys do a great job explaining what's happening on the ice, but I don't think people necessarily understand what the life of a curler is like. In fact, one of the big comparisons that's often made between curlers in the United States and a country like Canada or somewhere over in Europe is how curling is really a truly professionalized in these other countries. The folks who are competing this week, they have full-time jobs and, they have their families and they're out there balancing all of that in addition to their curling competition. So, I think it's important to understand for fans that, curlers are just like you. This is a very accessible sport. It's a sport that, you can get on the ice once or twice and really get a feel for it, and, that anyone can play. So both the competition aspect and the non-competition aspects are really normal and accessible, and I want people to understand that.
So, if you could, look into the future, what do you think would be something good that curling could do to kind of make it more accessible to the casual fan?
I mean, I certainly think that having curling on NBC Sports Network is great, and having the live cast available is great because it just gives access to curling competition, which is true in a place like Canada. I grew up in Seattle, and my love of curling started on Saturday mornings watching CBC broadcasts of curling instead of cartoons, nerdy as that may sound. But I don't think that there is a fan culture that has developed. There isn't when you go to a soccer match, there are chants. When you go to a baseball game, there are customs. I don't think that the average fan understands, to whatever extent that they do exist, what the fan experience for curling could be. And I'd love to see USA Curling do it, or you guys do it, to really, amp up the ways that fans can participate across, obviously in person, but also across social media, across all geographies. Just ways that fans, those who are not actively regularly curling, that they can be involved and it's meaningful also.
So what do you think about, I know ESPN has kind of cut a deal with TSN to kind of show some of the Season of Champion events. How do you think that helps in that respect, kind of bringing fans, kind of educating fans on what it's sort of like to be a curling fan beyond just an event like the Olympics?
Well, I think it's actually an interesting challenge because ESPN, which has a massive audience, or the potential for a massive audience, also really serves the diehard fan particularly well. They are one of those world leader in sports lenses through which someone who understands curling will get access to more. I don't think that they do as good a job taking the casual or the curious fan and bringing them in. Sometimes, an NBC Sports Network has done this too, I think unintentionally. They feel like you have to dumb down a sport like curling so people can understand it. You don't. You just have to explain it and contextualize it a bit. So, the access is great. The reach is going to be there. But I think you have to, both through ESPN and USA Curling and others, you have to carve out a specific role for those fans, people who tune in and are not familiar with the competitions or familiar with the sport. There should be some way for them to define the culture a little bit, to contribute a little bit more.
That's a great answer, and I totally agree. One of the things that we like to do is try to show every stone of every end. So what we're going to do is going to have to catch up with you a little bit later, but we do appreciate you participating with us on the Fifth End Break. Thanks again, Brian Rich. Hit the Broom Podcast. Check it out online. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Brian, for stopping by and sharing some time with us. Pretty cool to have Brian doing his work and really helping us promote, having been involved with the Curling Night in America thing. It's pretty exciting to have lots of interest and lots of different ways that things are being brought up. So it's really nice to have him in. Back to the action here in the sixth end. Patty's got a corner guard in play. There's two Sormunen rocks in play. And Madison Lank coming around that corner guard very nicely, slips behind the tee line.
Stand a half. Okay.
It looks like Eileen is just going to play a hit and roll on this
Close.
corner guard. This is a play that I actually saw at juniors.
Yep.
Looks like it's just going to be a peel. She goes almost clean through the hole there, Joe. That's hard to do.
Yeah, just not just nudged that one further up into the house. Still sitting second shot, but wow, that was something that just didn't curl quite enough to get the roll they were looking for.
So as I was saying, we saw that at juniors, Team Lindgren at the junior nationals played it against Christensen. Instead of peeling the corner guards, she was hitting the corner guards and rolling for another center. It was really kind of brilliant, and
if you can make that work for you and you don't nose it, you get a little roll, and you can really get 2 rocks out of 1 there.
You do, and it again, that it's a strategy that can kind of change the complexion of the end.
So that one drifts probably a little deeper than they were hoping for. While it sits 1-2, this looks like something that can be doubled out.
Yeah, actually, it sets up pretty well for a double and roll right behind those rocks. Get a sweep call on off. Makes the double. Does roll. But all the way to the far side of the forefoot. Might be almost
that should be
half
accessible
covered.
For sure. But with the hammer and an even end, no reason to get super aggressive. Patty's going to try to double peel these rocks out front. Could redirect back into the one in the forefoot. Hit just right.
On this right away. Looks like it's over curling. Will she get the back one?
Oh, just nudges it. Does it get out?
It doesn't.
No. Leaves herself with something on the corner, though. Kind of cleaned up some of the mess in the middle. I don't know what you score something like that. Certainly didn't hit it the way you intended.
No, and I think you really wanted to see a couple of those yellow stones leave the rings. Anna just getting that one going a little bit right out of her hand. And
this side's a little straighter. Yeah.
Eileen trying to clutter it up in the middle a little bit again. Wants to tap her own rock back. Right to the top forefoot.
John, looking at the statistics on the left-hand side there, you can really see the difference. Patty just out-curling Eileen so far.
We're pretty close.
But, scoreboard doesn't really indicate that. It's all tied up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week statistically. I think if you only went by the stats, you might have some different records, but the stats don't always tell the story.
That's the truth.
Jerry Gertz doesn't like to hear me say that.
Sure. But it's about the right, right now, Sormunen has made the right 50% of her shots. I mean,
yeah.
The draw for 2 made that. And you can see the schedule and results on the left-hand side of your screen now.
As some would say, those are the statistics that matter the most.
Yeah. Sormunen has only seemed to have trouble with Brown so far. Just would not want to see them. Unfortunately, if they win, they're going to have to see them again, a third time.
Unless you threw really lightweight.
We've seen that in the past, though, a lot. Most recently at juniors, Corey Dropkin. It's really, really hard to beat a team 3 times in these events. I don't know why that is.
So hit and roll here. Things opening up a bit for Patty. But Sormunen still sits 2 in the rings. Yeah, I mean, look at the statistics there, and you see McCormick, number 1.
Yeah, they're all 1 through 6 are all, 78%.
Yeah. But I think this is pretty telling. You look at 1 and 2, 4, 5, and 6. All top. The fourths really those high percentages and late with your skip, bailing you out of trouble.
Yeah. This rock curling, they're trying to get underneath the corner, and that's going to rub off.
Sits for third.
That means that Eileen's got a bit of a choice here. She could try and come under her own there. She could play the hit and roll.
Yeah, if you just do to there. Yeah.
You have a great place to draw to here, John.
Takes her draw.
Because we don't really have a good spot to put it.
No. Without
There's
getting
your
it.
answer.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And it moves pretty nicely, huh?
To get around that 1 and the 8, you might drift behind the tee. Leave Patty a way to freeze to something. I kind of like this. I mean, you hit it, you sit 3 somewhere, anywhere, you're probably going to get your force.
Close. Just clean.
This rock hanging out a little bit. Really like this to stick around, and we've seen that intern hit off that center line, not wanting to move very much.
Yeah. Well, in either case, Sormunen here sits 2. Patty's going to try to freeze down to shot rock. He doesn't have a choice. Can't use that corner anymore with just 2 stones remaining. Going to have to figure out a different way. You see the records over there on the left side of the women's field. This was for the round robin.
This is another situation for the league curler, Joe. I mean, again, league curlers more than likely have the tendency to walk up and want to hit one of those yellow stones and just minimize the damage. But you're likely, because there's no double there, you're likely getting forced to take 1 anyway. So you might as well play the freeze in this situation and see if you can get a deuce out of it.
You could get the benefit of learning your draw weight, and instead of throw something hard and then throw something soft. Which invariably for me winds up meaning that I leave it short of the house.
They're right off this one.
This one has got to curl.
It's got to slow down.
Not a whole lot of freeze there.
Nope.
But shot rock, and that's going to do the job here. Sormunen's going to have to hit this stone. And Patty will have a very similar draw for 1. And can get a lead in an even end. Not exactly what she was hoping for, but
Nope.
She'll have some control.
So I'm not sure. I think Eileen just said she's going to try and roll this one out.
Over the top?
Yeah, over the top of her other one. You have to be a little bit careful. You'd hate to just nick this and lose both of those rocks and your shooter in the back house and give them a blank.
It's pretty close.
That was
Just
almost what
enough.
I said.
Yeah, just enough. Just over the top with enough spin. And it just grazed that stone, and now Patty has that draw. If they had nudged that one a little deeper, they wouldn't have been able to use it for backing. I mean, so that, I'm sure that wasn't her intention, but, another 4 or 5 inches maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, and so now Lank still has a little bit of backing here. It's a great opportunity just to get her 1 here.
And as you said, Joe, Patty was a little little deep on that first draw, so now she knows she can dial it back a couple of feet, give it to the sweepers.
Whoa, looks like lots.
Sweepers are working on this.
Maureen out there to help. Got to get it into the 8-foot.
This one checking up.
Don't want to leave this short. Got to get a good piece.
Oh, just barely.
Just enough. And never a doubt. Patty Lank gets her single here in the 6th. Now leads Eileen Sormunen 4-3. Curling fans have responded to the return of the World Financial Group Continental Cup to Las Vegas in such enormous numbers that the original room block of 1,230 rooms at the Orleans Hotel and Casino is sold out. To meet our demand, the Orleans has responded by coming up with an additional 100 rooms, which are now on sale. A very moderate price increase puts the cost at the hit and stay 5-night package with Old Classic ticket package for one person at $800. Double accommodation, including 2 Old Classic packages, is $1,038 US. You can find the link to book at usacurl.org. These are the last rooms available at the Orleans, which is adjacent to the competition area. Organizers are making arrangements for additional rooms and packages at other nearby properties, and those details will be announced in the coming days. That Continental Cup in Las Vegas the last time around was a hoot. Just a lot of fun. It always is, but you add the element of Las Vegas, and it kind of amps the level of fun up a bit.
Well, I was otherwise engaged last year in my crazy travels. Being fortunate to call the games in Sochi and everything that I was doing. So I didn't make that trip, but I'm hoping that I can get there this time, because it looked like just a great event and lots of fun. I'm not a big gambler myself, but Vegas is certainly a good time, and I'm sure it'll be every bit as good. And those ticket packages selling out, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's good for curling. I think particularly now that ESPN has picked up some of these properties to show crowds excited about the game. And it's such a fun event. The players are, it's a competition, obviously, but they're playing. There's no medals on the line. So they're playing for fun, and they break out the trick shots.
Yeah, it's interesting. We experienced a little bit of it at the Curling Night in America event. It's just a little lighter atmosphere. I mean, the players are still playing hard and trying to make shots, but having a little more relaxed atmosphere. It's kind of fun to see them really enjoying themselves, doing what they love.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's unique about the Continental Cup, is that it's a lot of fun for the players to participate in.
And it brings people together who are naturally rivals,
right?
It makes them teammates. You don't get the chance to see some of these teams who are, fighting for points week in and week out on the same side, and makes for some interesting pairings and a lot of fun. So Madison makes a come around, drifts right to the tee line, a little deep.
Eileen's asking for a hack weight hit here, try and clip piece of that and roll the shooter under the guide.
So Brian just handed me a note. We have had over 38,000 views so far for the week.
That's pretty awesome, guys.
Really good start.
This rock's got to come up a bit.
Nice.
Very nicely done. Great shot by Vicky.
Yeah, very nice. Right under the guard. Got three games to go here after this one. Hopefully we can get I would love to get about 50,000. That would be nice. So tell your friends. If they are modestly interested in curling, this is the time to make them a real fan.
Yep.
Got some good games on tap.
Anna's going to Try and get around this corner guard.
5-6. Got a 4-11.
Freeze down to shot rock. Kind of negates this corner guard
6-7-7.
and that rock.
7-7-8-8.
This is running pretty straight. Hitting that line, if it can get off that guard, I think it's pretty good.
Trying to get the little rub.
Oh.
She gets it almost too much.
I wonder what would have happened if they just let that go.
Yeah, she might have had that rub anyway.
Yeah.
And that sets things up for Eileen pretty well. She can
Pretty
get
good
another.
pocket there, yeah.
She can get another rock around the corner.
Or around this way. Leave it here. Either.
Yep.
Maybe just an inch more.
So we've got the stopwatch going in the upper left-hand corner. Brian's going to try to get a time.
Yep. Well then, well then.
373 seems like,
I think Brian might have been a little late on the first pull, but we'll see.
yeah, that's a heavy rock. That's at least hack. They were trying to get the same rub. That's just a mistake there by Tara.
Brian with excellent stopwatch skills that I use weekly, so I'm not going to give him too much trouble there. That was good. Probably was a 3-7. To Brian's credit, it's really hard for him even to see the back line from where he's sitting. So
oh, let's not start giving Brian credit.
you know, everybody knows he's the brains of this operation.
That's a little scary. I mean that in the nicest possible way, BA. After all, I did work with you guys in January.
That's right.
I've
You're the one who decided to bring us in. Nothing to say about you. All right, so here we go. 404 split, and that's going to hit the
Do we have a contract for next year?
Not yet. Not yet. So,
probably going to charge me double if I keep it up. So
that's right.
I'll just shut up right now.
Quit while you're ahead, Benton. Quit while you're ahead. All right, so
I kind of like coming under.
crashes on that center guard. Makes it more centery, though, than it was before.
Thinking about coming around. Could
Might be able to.
peel the guard.
Let's do it.
This is one of those double rock shots, I think. Trying
Maybe
to
even a triple rock shot.
could be redirect it back into the house. Redirect the yellow there into the house.
Redirect the yellow into the house. Maybe catch the back red
Yep.
on a double.
A lot of good things can happen here for Sormunen if they hit this just right. And as it stands, I don't think that was so good.
Yeah, I'm a little puzzled by that call. It's pretty defensive. I don't know that she's ever going to get out of this end with a blank with as many Lank rocks as are in the rings right now.
And that really opened up this shot stone, which wasn't that open before. Still a couple guards out there, I guess.
The only thing that I can think is that, you know, maybe coach at the break said, you know, let's stay away from the center guards. Let's keep it open. You know, Patty's been making a lot of good shots around those center guards.
Now, we haven't talked too much about, you know, coaching and, you know, how that affects a game in the middle of a game. I mean, you're out there charting rocks and stats and things like that. What kind of adjustments can you really make?
Well, as you look at Scotty Baird there, coach for Team Sormunen, you know, coaching in curling, I think it's one of the it has to be one of the purest forms of coaching, simply because really mostly what you're doing is preparing your team to play. They have to be able to make adjustments on the fly, you know, and that can be, you know, technical, that can be tactical. They really need to be able to do it themselves. The fifth end break, it's really two basic things.
Yeah.
It's either keep doing what you're doing,
or change completely,
or make a big change.
Yeah.
There might be some subtleties to that, of course, but more often than not, the fifth end break is really kind of affirming what's been going on, or saying we need to do something a little bit better. You might there were a couple of times this week where I asked the girls about some rocks, and we made some changes with rocks to get a little better result. This one looks like it's slipping back further than they'd like it, although it stops above the tee.
So, John, I have an idea for the game. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but one of my ideas for the game, you were probably coaching when I mentioned this.
I'm scared.
All right, so coaching, I think, should be more a part of the game. Okay, because I do think one timeout and the fifth end break is not enough interaction. But I also am aware that the game should not be slowed down in any way. What I think should happen is that coaches should be allowed to go down to see their team when the other team is called timeout. I think that's only fair. It's not like in football when one team calls timeout, the other team's defense doesn't get a chance to go and talk to their coach. That doesn't make any sense. So, in my mind, both coaches should be able to come out and talk things over.
Well, I don't know if you talked to Ann about this at all, but Ann's in a position to know a lot about rules, and she works on an athletes council with the WCF, and I know that there's been a lot of discussion about these kinds of things. I know there was talk about an interaction after every end that you could meet with your team. I know in Canada for a lot of the junior events we get 2 timeouts and the coaches can actually call the timeouts. There's lots of different things that I think are possible. That the big thing, like you said, that most people don't want to see is they don't want to see the game slowed down anymore. So we watch this rock coming in, they're trying to get it by.
Sneak it by.
But she does catch it on the back, and it sits for shot.
Yeah, wow.
That was a great hit and roll prior to that set up this end. So as we chat about coaching here, they really need to try and figure out a good spot to set up a deuce. Looks like they're talking about freezing to the back one, which isn't bad.
Boy, did this end turn around in a hurry.
It did.
Lank's sitting there with 5 stones in the house, but none of them are closer than that 1 yellow, and Sormunen's got a chance to get 2 here.
Yeah. Well, we saw an overhead shot there of that wall in the back of the house. It was going to be pretty hard for Patty to get a rock out of the rings with the way those were set up.
So Sormunen with her first here in the 7th.
Seen this line hanging before. She can't tap this red stone. And this will be one of 4 rocks that we've seen go through the rings this end, Joe.
Yeah, that's a lot. And plenty of these others are in the back half of the house. Something's changed here after the 5th end.
Yeah, a couple of them just weren't even close. I mean, they were nearly board weight. That last one from Eileen.
Well, I was thinking this.
Flying through the house.
But I don't know if that's too risky to go
I think I'd take a run at this for sure.
play like a board or something. But whatever you want.
Worst you're giving up is 2.
Yeah.
I think so. You just threw that, right?
A whole lot of nose gets a whole lot of that rock.
Yeah, and actually, I think if you could just hit it a little high of nose so that your shooter rolls maybe 6 inches,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rock you're raising hits
Right
the yellow
towards-
and
yeah.
rolls towards the center a little bit. So right about there. A little roll that way. Goes back there. And like that.
Nicely done, BA.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I know. He's the czar of the telestrator. There's no doubt.
Mm-hmm. That would be the best outcome. Of course, if she hits it a little higher than that, she'll get the yellow out and roll her shooter to the center line. That wouldn't be too bad. Right on the nose isn't great because she's still going to leave a draw, even though she'll be probably laying 6. She's close. Have they overswept it?
Got it. Good
Tapped
enough.
it.
Sitting 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just 4.
So, gonna get the force here.
So at
At
least.
least. Yeah, I mean, drawing against 4 is no picnic. Especially after tossing one through the hole there.
Yeah, it's a little puzzling what happened with the speed here. Maybe tricking these players a little bit. And this end swung back and forth a couple of times now.
Mm-hmm.
And this is that outturn that really curls, Joe. Just got to be careful here.
Line's good. Not curling at all.
Gotta wait for it to come off that rock. It's gotta curl. There it goes,
Man,
down
it's
the
gotta
hill.
Get off that rock.
Down the hill.
Oh boy.
Hard.
Really gotta get it in.
Hard.
And that's
Steal
a
a 3.
steal of 3.
3 big stones there. Patty Lank takes
Wow.
a commanding 7-3 lead
3.
going into the 8th. Are you a fan of curling? Do you want to know more about the sport of curling in the United States and receive regular updates about events and news from the curling world? Consider joining the USA Curling Fan Club. The fan club provides you with all the latest news releases, as well as a subscription to the U.S. Curling News. Visit the website, www.usacurl.org today to learn more. So, wow, that was quite surprising. There was room there.
That's a stunner.
Yeah,
You know, we might have to pay attention here to the rest of this game. I mean, this game's certainly not over, but a 4-point lead going into the 8th looks pretty good for Patty, but could be significant if there was a big change in the ice. You know, not sure if maybe plant kicked in and it cooled down a little bit, straightening up and maybe getting a pickle faster.
it could be.
Can we hug it?
But you could technically say that that's a 5-point swing.
Yeah.
Because Eileen was set up pretty well to get a 2 there, and
They got to get this one in the house. Never a doubt. Patty out there helping out, getting it done. So Sormunen's really up against it here. You can't even do 2-1-2 here. It's that leaves you 1 short.
right.
So gonna have to pick up a 3-pointer somewhere along the way here.
Yeah, you really are probably going to have to go hard for 3 points this end. And steal to win.
Yeah, that might be the only formula. I suppose you get 2 and then steal. But that's a tall order
Yeah.
at this level. Stealing 2 in a row is difficult. Stealing 3 is almost impossible.
You know, you get 3 this end and you steal or force the next end, and you know, if you get the force, you're down 2 with playing.
Yeah.
Either way, you're probably going to have to steal to win. So
Well, Madison is leaving no doubt on this one. This one's going through. Brian loves those throw and lead. He's 100% on those.
They actually don't count in the stats, Brian.
We keep telling him that. He doesn't listen.
To which you might say that a hog rock shouldn't count in your stats either.
You would think.
Line's good. 93. Might need to go a little. 5. Okay, got room. Line's fine. Line's fine.
So trying to come around their corner here early.
Finish it. Yep.
Wants to get a good piece of this tucked.
All the way over. All the way over.
It's a really nice stone by Vicky.
Really nice. Gonna need a lot more of those.
Checking in on Twitter. Watching from Fairbanks.
Vicky's home, of course.
They're called Fairbanksians? Is that what that said? Brian's going to have to bring that up
Yeah,
again.
bring that back.
Fairbankson, that's what it is.
A Fairbankson.
A Fairbankson. Suppose, did you have to call him that? I don't know what else you'd call him.
A Fairbanksian?
Fairbanksian. That's what I would have gone with.
Right.
But Fairbankson makes sense too.
How about
I guess.
from Fairbanks?
Yeah. I can live with that.
So rock on the way for Tara Peterson. So in this position, you really don't care where these rocks end up. As long as they're under the corner guard, you can be all the way in the back of the house. Because you know you need to score multiples.
In fact, sometimes it's even better to be deep because then you have a chance to draw another one shorter.
Yeah, you gotta leave yourself room.
As it stands now, it doesn't make much difference. Patty's going to rip this guard.
Yeah.
Taking a line that if somehow she's wide, she can hit the one in the house.
There you see the men's standings on the left.
It's all pre-tiebreaker.
Right.
Had 4 teams at 4 and 5. Had to get whittled down to 1. That one wound up being Brandon Corbett.
Who would have been
the clear number 4, but flashed a takeout that caused a significant amount of ice maker
consternation.
Consternation, yeah. Good word.
So the corner guard comes off, and Eileen has to put it back at this point.
So Corbett had that 4-team tie, and the first game was against Corey Dropkin.
Yeah.
And had a crazy ending, and we'll show you that in just a second, but I'll show after this shot. This one's getting a lot of love on Facebook.
It is.
Maybe for the wrong reasons, but...
well, you know, I think after you see the shot... Brandon and Corey both handled the situation pretty well.
Absolutely. So here's the shot, and the idea was to angle run back the yellow in the upper left-hand corner in the picture-in-picture, which it's appeared. So instead, what happens is he clips one in the top, and spins and spins and spins and spins.
Looks like it's going to spin through, and then it actually spins right into the button.
Yeah. And that's how they got past the first tiebreaker. Then the second one, which we don't have a replay of, unfortunately, Brandon had to draw to a sliver of the button area because there were 3 Dean Gemmel stones that were sort of blocking the top 4-foot. And it was thrown real well, was called real well by his brother, Derek, and swapped extremely well by Paul Little and... help me out here. Jared Whittish, thank you. Swept real well, got to the button, and then they wound up defeating Dean Gemmel by 1. And they get to the 3-4 game, and McCormick ran them out of stones and won the game.
Pretty great week for them, though.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
I mean, it was a lot of certainly ups and downs, but you're not going to find a bunch of players who are having more fun than they are.
Well, no, and you know, I'll go on record here as saying that, you know, and I've said this before, the more teams that you know, kind of put their hat in the ring and go out and spend some time on tour. I mean, you can obviously see the difference. You know, having worked with those guys before as juniors, they were always good players, but just spending some time on tour, you know, throwing better shots, calling a better game.
There's a more mature game being played.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
And that goes for anybody. You know, there's been a long storied battle about East Coast versus Midwest, and I think that ship has sailed. You know, it's we've got a lot of good players playing out on tour now, and that's good for everybody. You know, I'm very happy for those guys that they made a good run this week. They should be very happy and proud for everything that they did this year.
Yeah, and I'm sure the next time they make their faces available in the Rochester Curling Club, there's going to be a lot of applause for them.
There should be.
Yeah.
There absolutely should be.
So Patty Lank throwing the first of her 2 stones here in the 8th. Looking at making a run back.
She's made a bunch of these this week.
Stuffs that one.
Sticks that one. Now, the question is, which way does Eileen want to get after this?
Same spot as whatever end that was, 6. We got to be a little further out since that one's in the 12s.
You know, she could be conservative and draw to one of the open sides here, and I assume Patty would kind of easily concede 2.
Yeah.
But if she gets one under here and forces Patty to play a run back or even maybe a freeze, maybe Eileen will have a chance for a 3.
Yeah, I think there must be a choice here where she's sort of hoping she throws a run back, because throwing one around the intern side may be more difficult for Patty to do that with. And if she were to come around, maybe Patty would come down and freeze and take away at the end altogether. This forces, if she can put this one out there, forces Patty to try to make a run back probably.
So they're just waiting on this one.
Looks like it's trying. Stay with it.
There it goes.
Still fine. Finish it in the back. Yep.
Just got to sit down a little bit and sit second shot if possible. And it does.
It's a good spot because it's deep enough that you can't really freeze to it. Patty's going to have to play a run back. She chooses the shorter run back.
Hey, you want to do this one?
Trying to launch it back maybe into that other one. Or she can slash the one on the right.
Whichever one you want.
So at this point for Eileen, I mean, this is what you want
Unless I have more
Patty
shots to
throwing.
play
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Pretty good chance to at least pick up 2.
You got it.
Yep.
Never know.
Yeah, Patty's cooled down quite a bit since that start. She's only at 86% now. Shooting at 100 after 3, I think. She's down to 86 now. She's throwing a really nice game.
Well, you know, she has. I mean, she's really made all the shots she needed to make, and unfortunately for Eileen, they just haven't really put a whole lot of pressure on Patty.
The shots haven't been super, super difficult.
You know, the Sormunen rink just not super crisp like they were most of the week.
Yeah.
And Patty, as usual, Patty's game just tends to go up and up and up.
Yep. This one needs to be hit on the high side. It's looking pretty good.
It's looking really good. Is she going to get the triple? No, not quite.
Well, she removes one of the stones, and now Sormunen will have a draw for 2.
That'd
You got it.
Not a bad result. Sormunen still has to make the stone.
Yep. She can bring this in for 2. She'll close the gap a little bit. Steal of 2 is not out of the question, but like we said, it's she's kind of behind it right now. Going into the 9th end, at least down. We'll wait for this to stop before I finish that sentence.
That's always good.
Clean it. Looks like it's trying to come. It's moving nicely. It's moving real nicely.
This one should settle in the rings.
Nicely done. It's 2 for Sormunen. And now she trails Patty Lank 7-5, and they're going into the 9th. You know, next year's Nationals is in Jacksonville, Florida. And I am looking so forward to that.
I think that just about every one of us here, though we love Kalamazoo,
Yeah, we do.
and we love Wing Stadium.
The weather, though, I'm
Yeah.
not as much a fan of.
No.
No. And so we can get our flip-flops ready to join everyone here in Jacksonville next year for the 2016 Nationals, and the tickets are going to be on sale soon. So you want to keep connected to the USA Curling website and their Facebook page. You'll find out when you can get tickets for that. I've been promised that I'll be able to wear shorts inside the arena.
Inside the arena?
Inside the arena. Or at least where we're going to be broadcasting from. That's the idea. So
Probably going to have to go to the tanning booth or something if I'm going to do that, because that paper you have in front of you?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's about the color of mine is. Sorry for the visual, folks.
So Sormunen's going to have to put out a couple center guards here. Try to draw the plate in the middle. Try to get a steal. This one looks like it's a whole lot of just over the hog line, which is good enough. I can probably get off it now. Just let it die.
Leave room for a long one and a short one.
Yep. There's your long one. And let's see what Patty does here. Is she coming around this, or is she tossing it away? It's coming around.
It's Patty.
Yeah, I know. Well, they tossed one away last, and I mean, they did have a 4-point lead, so
Yeah,
they're going to come around this.
they're only up by 2, so it's not surprising to me.
Don't want to hit this towards the center. Don't want to leave it short either.
Really working this one to get it in. Just gets into the top 4.
So that one's
or
long
top
enough.
12, I'm
That
sorry.
one's long enough. It's sort of acting as that second guard they need.
And Eileen can actually use this. You don't really want to freeze to it, but you position a rock in front of this, it makes the double peel nearly impossible.
Yeah.
Same weight. Go then, yep.
And the other thing is, if she doesn't put something on it, Lank could just peel it and try to open it up. She can't peel Sormunen's, but she can peel her own. It's already in the rings. It wouldn't have mattered anyway. She saw it as a dangerous stone.
Right to it. Right to it. Yep.
Now she won't be able to get there.
Yeah.
Right shot.
You know, based on what I'm seeing, I'm being more and more convinced here, Joe, that the subtlety in the ice is just, it's really rotation sensitive.
Yeah, it looks that way.
If you're right around 2.5 rotations, that rock's really going to move. If you're 3 rotations or more, it actually will hang quite a bit and wait until very late to take that bit of a cut, but they just don't finish as well.
Coming down a bit.
This one's going to be about 2.5 rotations, and you see how it is just, you know, by the time it gets back there, it's almost to the center of the hack.
And she was well out there for that draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we'll get another look here at that draw.
Taking a little less ice, and see how many rotations are thrown here.
Tara generally throws a little more.
Yep. Line's good. All you. Whoa. Okay, whoa then. Whoa. Stay close.
This 7.
Line's
Stay
really
close.
nice.
Whoa, it's all there. It's all there.
This one's a little heavy too.
Yeah.
Wow, that thing came to a halt pretty quick though.
Yeah. we saw another rock do that down there.
So about 3.5 to 4 rotations on that one. The weight was much better.
Right.
And Patty's going to have to clear some stuff out front here.
Can make a run back triple here.
And it adds a little at the end.
Really working this hard.
Over the top.
Just a single peel.
Okay.
Yeah, I like this setup for Sormunen a lot. She can put a couple center guards up, make Lank waste some stones, and maybe weld one around those guards in the top 4 foot onto the button.
Well, we saw this earlier in the men's game.
Yeah.
You know, Craig Brown making a heck of a comeback against Schuster and almost pulled it off by doing something very similar, just leaving himself room in the 4 foot to freeze a couple of rocks in consecutive ends.
Mm-hmm.
Nice shot.
This rock just a hair deeper than they'd like.
Patty's got to play along, and I think early on she's going to. I wonder if there'll be a point where she decides if this continues, if she'll just try to come around first.
Right. Well, that's the decision that you're faced with unless you can get all of the guards moving and open up the center line. This rock moving.
Should go over the top.
Over the top, trying to get that roll away from the center.
Pretty good result there.
Yep.
Cleared it out of the middle.
Yeah, they're just going to keep throwing the center guard up. Wait for somebody to blink here before they go into the 4 foot.
Yeah, you gotta believe Patty will make some sort of move and try to make Sormunen do something for her.
Line's good.
If she makes it real good, she'll have to clear the front to some degree, move something around to get access.
Whoa, just over. Just over.
But this looks like a really nice center guard again.
Whoa. Whoa, on its own. Nice shot.
Lined up pretty well on that yellow.
Great line. Patty's only got the single peel available to her, so she doesn't leave another guard up top.
You see these statistics after 8 ends that are closing. Gap closing. Again, the scoreboard's the most important one.
Whoa!
Oh, this has got to hit something.
They caught a piece. Almost touched the backside of their own.
The redirect seems to be the shot of the shot of the week.
Every once in a while, Marine slides out just a pickle on the tight side and
pitches it.
It's not really a pitch. It's hard to read. I was watching the other day, and it's just a subtle move back of the back of the handle, right? And unless you're watching, Patty jump that one right away, it almost looks like she's turning it in, but she's actually carrying the whole stone away from the line. That'll happen sometimes when the shooter actually over-rotates the handle of the stone. It gets past 12 o'clock when they release it, so it feels like you're narrow. So you kind of pull the handle out to the broom.
So here they are. They're going to try to suck it around there.
Curl.
Oh, this is deep. They're going to try to take it around their own.
Yeah, right to the back. They will lie too. It's not the worst result, but now Patty's likely to throw one in there is my guess.
Yeah, it sort of seems like what I would think she would do.
I mean, the double peel's there.
And then, we've learned not to predict what Patty's going to do.
The double peel's there, but in order to make the double peel, you're probably going to leave a guard.
Right. And then Sormunen can come around again,
Right.
and you're...
Are they all both behind the tee?
Maybe good time to call a timeout here
Yeah.
and talk this over.
Yeah, I have a hunch.
Okay.
Nope, they're going to save it.
Yeah, I like coming around on this outturn side.
Yeah. Yeah, so the double peel leaves the guard is the big problem. It won't give you access. And by laying 2 in the back of the rings, this is again what I consider a safety shot. We can't afford to give up a multiple steal here, so we're going to get in there first.
Make sure it's tee. This one's always stopped short. Yep.
This one's turning over.
Make sure it always stops short.
And it stopped short again.
Yeah.
Still in pretty good position. I think they have access to it on the outside.
Do you have the whole thing or not? Yeah, almost.
Almost see all of that. It's probably 7/8.
If you just do this, it doesn't curl. I mean, we could freeze too.
This is probably the best spot for a timeout for the girls. They didn't use one early, did they?
No, they haven't used one yet.
I don't know if it'll curl enough that we can move it. I like just to freeze them. Yeah, I'm thinking just this.
Yeah. So I think that room was good. Okay.
See, I'm actually inclined to, in this situation, try and play the tap on the red, even if you tap it onto your shot rock there.
Then she's got the same draw this way, so.
Then you force Patty to play the in-turn freeze, and you leave your shooter out there to tap in there later. If you bring this one in, Patty's going to have a relatively simple angle run in. Or a tap.
And that, depending on where this winds up, you could get a couple rocks moving with that ankle raise.
Yeah.
So maybe all of them, if it's lined up correctly.
This is that line that
I got room.
waits a long time.
Yep, hurry!
There it goes.
Hard!
She on the top?
No, I think she's by the guard.
Oh, just barely.
It's a good shot.
It's a good shot.
But I think you're right. You could very easily angle that in. Get shot rock buried.
She's probably going to throw the freeze, though.
This probably gives her 2 chances on her last. One on each side.
I'm pretty sure I'm still angling this rock in. That red rock. Make her throw it again. You might get both of those yellows moving.
Yeah.
You happen to throw this a foot too deep.
You're not going to get a chance at that angle.
Not gonna. You might leave a double.
Right.
And Patty's been pretty good on her line here, and so she's likely to get a good freeze to the nose, or at least sit in front of the Sormunen rock. But up to, I'm more inclined to throw something with some weight and get some yellows moving.
Whoa, you got room. Whoa. Whoa, high's okay. Whoa, lots of line.
Way out there.
A lot of weight.
Line. Nope.
Starting to come down. Look at that thing go.
Nope. Yep.
Wow. Look at that. Just check up.
she missed that top rock by 1.5 feet.
Right.
And still got.
It's right there now.
But
So-
can Eileen come down with back 4 weight, tap that rock, and lay 3? I don't know. If we get a little zoom out there, Brian.
To it.
So I think she's only laying 1
She
right
still lays
now.
that. Yeah.
It's pretty
I think
close.
so, too.
Or I mean, she's laying 1. Patty's second. Can't
So-
quite tell who's third.
We could bump these a little. It's kind of sketchy though, too. I mean, what if we tried to come in this way? Yeah, it just doesn't finish.
BA thinks it's
hang out at
Lank
all.
3.
You bump them right in. Right. I mean,
I think
side
this is
the
her
shot.
easier shot.
It's more open and the ankle's better.
Yeah. So just plug
so
it.
It's like, do we discard that?
Yeah.
Or do we try to bump this a little? And
Although if she whams this, then I think she could get it
I,
to
This one should jam.
it should
but
jam.
it might come over
It
enough
might
that this
come
would
enough.
be shot.
Yeah.
It's pretty difficult.
What if we like?
the
Can we? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We can't block them both.
Yeah.
That's the only way we. If we bump this over and.
I kind of like playing this way.
Yeah. I like that too.
We know the
I think that's the shot.
To guard them both.
Yep. There's no other way.
But I don't want to bump them enough that she has a that one right into this.
That's way harder than
Yeah.
just hitting this anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere on either side.
Well, you hear the explanation
Okay,
there.
so
There's,
if we're bumping
you
yellow
know,
one.
Patty's
So we need like.
Patty's got access to either of those 2 red stones to
Be able to
get
bump
the
them.
yellow rock moving.
Split.
As we look at it here, the one on the left is the easier slash to actually move shot rock out of play.
12s.
I still kind of like coming down and tapping
Just like
one of
right
those rocks. I think you could get
Okay.
at least a nose, if
Just
not
like top 8.
or inside a nose on the
Or like a
the
5.
right red there, just
yeah,
based on
5.
the way it's curling in there.
So we're throwing the same weight that Patty just did, and
You know,
with a
it's-
little less line.
Yeah, I mean, if you could ever do that and wiggle over a bit, Patty's angle run in, while it might get her shot, it might leave you a steal of 2.
Yeah. Definitely see that. As it stands, what they're going to do, though, is come around, or not come around, but they're going to draw to a spot where they maybe hit their own yellow or the Patty Lank red over to cut off that raise.
Yeah, it's really just a tap
Close.
guard,
Yeah.
Wait for it.
trying to get 2 rocks in place.
Yeah, the key here is they
the red one,
want to
yeah.
take away that other raise, too.
Uh-oh.
Yep. Whoa.
Did they wait too long?
I think this is pretty good, as long as it's not too heavy.
No, it's perfect.
It's pretty good.
Did leave a little piece of that
Yeah.
red on the right-hand side exposed.
I think you got a shot at it here. You don't have to move it a ton.
This way.
I don't think you can hurt yourself playing
Nope.
that shot either.
Patty was looking at the center line red and running it back, but that's a pretty sketchy little shot there.
Yeah, I think
You-
that's one way you can really hurt yourself.
Yeah, you could.
Counting that. So I was thinking if you come this way and just hit this 3, those go. This without counting this one though. Timeout. Timeout. Timeout.
So now they've called the timeout. Pete Stoll will make the trek down.
Let's see if he remembers to turn
If
on
you
his
come this
microphone.
way and it hangs out, you're gonna go here. If it over curls, you could wick this and hit it straight back. But I think you gotta hit it like
Oh, I
come this way and hit it
really
here.
dislike running this
Clip
red
that
back.
for 3. Clip which one out? Double them out?
Yeah, there,
One out counts this one.
there's a pretty easy way to
Give up
So-
a steal at 2, I
to
think.
give
I don't
up
know
a
if you
steal
can
at
hit
2.
It's
It's,
so bad to double these out and
you know,
lose
if
shooter.
she's likely going to play the intern at this, and
This angle's here where that'll pop
if
those
she
out.
caught,
Risk whiskey, or do we just give them one?
Give him one.
Hello?
What are you talking about? Give him one.
The tap instead of the 3-back?
Yeah, I think I do too. What kind of weight? Because I need to
You
get
gotta
a quarter
push
of it
this
and I
here.
gotta move it, so I'm thinking.
So as we look at this overhead, if she wanted to try to run the red back that's on
You
the
can see a
center line,
quarter?
But I'm only heating it.
you know, the danger is running it back
I want it all
to the left as we look at it and only catching half of her red stone.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then you'd have a situation where it might spin up and give a steal of 2.
Okay.
I still think her best shot is, you know, maybe a backline hack weight tap
I think that's what they wound up deciding to do.
on that stone into shot stone, maybe get him 2.
It's
We're
really
playing hack. Okay.
zero danger on this shot.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
You got it.
you're not likely to give up a steal of 2 on this one.
You have a very
In
good
any
chance
way.
of getting 2.
Exactly.
And even if you angle and hit it at all, you're getting 1 for sure.
So it's really just getting the line right, making sure that you get past that top guard. And if you don't, you give up a steal of 1. You're up 1 coming home with the hammer.
So, Patty Lank. If she can make this, she can get 2.
A little lift.
Yep.
Sweeping early.
Kind of looked like she squared that in a little bit.
This is
Really close.
Get off of this. They're back on. Oh,
And
sticks for 2.
Sticks for 2. What a great shot by Patty Lank.
Nice shot, and with that, she's going to take a 9-5 lead coming home in the 10th. Looking really good and advancing. You know what Friday night is?
Friday night is curling night in America.
That's right, and after you tune in to our 8 o'clock draw, you're going to want to flip over to NBC Sports Network, because at 11 p.m., you can watch the U.S. Curling Grand Prix, and that again is at on every Friday night at 11 p.m. through the next this week and 2 more.
Yep.
And you can find the complete schedule at usacurl.org.
And yours truly is on the call for the men's game tonight, U.S. versus China. I'm going to run really fast to get to that booth.
It's a long trip there, John. But that's an exciting program where it's great to see curling on a regular basis in the United States. It's
You know, it was just really fun to do. You know, obviously hosting it at my club was one thing. I mean, I think they might end up moving that event around at some point. But I mean, just to be involved in an event of that nature, something for the first time in the States, you know, and be able to feature some of our teams. And you know, my big thing is always about, you know, getting more people introduced to the sport.
Mhm.
You know, it's just, it seems like everybody who gets introduced to the sport gets hooked on it, right?
That's
so
right.
whether it's at my club or on TV or wherever I can introduce people to the sport, that's the best thing we can do, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of it when the sport is growing and exploding.
And NBC Sports Network has a lot of reach. It gets out there to a lot of households, and so you can tell your friends, hey, you know, even if you don't watch it live, DVR it. You know, you get a chance to watch it later.
And I know
You can fast forward to all the good John Benton parts. That's the important
I
thing.
fast forward through all of the John Benton parts. You know, I did notice earlier how you made a point to say that you guys show every rock of every end.
Yep.
And the curling purist, of course, appreciates that very much. I know we've had a few of our curling friends who haven't been too happy with that on the curling night thing, but you only have 2 hours.
Right.
And 40 minutes of that gets chewed up with commercial time, which we're very happy about, that people are willing to buy ad time for curling. But in the future, who knows? Right.
And as the more and more knowledgeable people are cutting up that footage, you'll miss all the ends that are just hit, and you'll get the ends that are the more fun ends. I think that's the key. I think no one cares if you just fast forward through those.
We've at least gotten to the point where it's not just lead rocks that they cut off.
Right.
we might cut out for a seconds rock or two. We never do that with skips rocks. I don't know why that is, but
and I do like the fact that program has some features that are a little different than what you might see on our webcast. We don't have the time, obviously, to kind of pre-produce some things, and they did some things to get to know the players a little bit better. I think that's a good thing. We need to create some personalities within the sport, and I think that's one way to do that. If people get to know, Heater McCormick a little bit better, that's a good thing. Because to know that guy is the level, And I think we need to create some personalities like that in the sport.
Yeah, that's a personality that probably doesn't need any more modification.
No, that's true. That's true, absolutely.
I mean that in the nicest possible way, Heater.
So, Patty Lank's just able to peel things out, and Sormunen's running out of stones real quick here. Down 4. Gonna have to make something happen around lone corner guard, most likely.
Yeah. 3 is tough. 4 is really tough. She does get a corner guard, however.
And that's how it begins, people.
Exactly.
So, talking about Heater McCormick, that's who's in our men's semi tonight at 8. He's playing Craig Brown. The 2 high-performance teams for the United States battling it out. Looking to make that final against John Schuster.
Those teams, Brown and McCormick, I mean, all of the high-performance teams spent a fair amount of time together training. We're at some events together. I've played each other, a few times. But I expect that to be, a high-quality game. Both of those teams, want to get to the final, want to play Schuster for sure. And that's the case for all of these teams, regardless of the points race. They all want to win this event.
And that's Maureen Stolt expertly removing that stone. 4 stones left. They all have to count.
And without getting into all of the mathematics, we know that a Schuster McCormick final will be.
If Schuster and McCormick make it to the final, the winner of that game is also going to be Team USA.
Correct.
Okay, if Schuster and Brown make the final, Schuster is going to be Team USA regardless of who wins or loses.
You are correct.
That's how it works. That's how these last 2 permutations work. So there's your update. And nicely buried stone here. Patty's going to play this tight to that guard, I'm sure. Maureen Stolt could end it right here.
It's not a voice you want to hear initially when you let it go, is that big whoa from Patty.
And that's not the way you missed that shot, unfortunately. But, they're going to get a couple cracks at it probably.
Yeah. So you still have life. You got to get every one of these stones buried and protected.
Want to line these up pretty well, as you might need to have a couple other misses here on one side or the other. Don't want to make this any wider than it is now.
Yeah, ideally you'd like this one to curl just a bit more, showing none of it and a little bit of the back one.
Right.
What do we call that?
Leaving a little leg? That's what I call it anyway.
Christmas tree.
Oh, Christmas tree, okay.
We probably haven't had that term this week, have we?
Not too many times, a couple times.
Couple of Christmas trees?
Yeah.
That's for...
See, this one, that wouldn't have been a Christmas tree because
Nope.
it would have over-curled. That's why I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, so if we over-curl it and leave a little bit of the back.
Yeah.
But now Patty's just got to make contact here.
Yep.
And she'll be headed to the final. Little on, little off. Is she going to get enough? And she does.
Good enough, and that's going to do it. Here come the handshakes, and that's that. Patty Lank runs Eileen Sormunen out of stones, and is going to advance to the final against Erica Brown at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Some nice applause from the crowd here as Patty Lank and her team celebrate victory, hard-earned victory over Eileen Sormunen. We are going to be back on the air tonight at 8 p.m. for the men's semifinal. That's going to be Craig Brown versus Heath McCormick. For John Benton, thanks, John, for being in the booth. He'll be back with us for the women's final at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And B.A. Brian Anderson, this is Joe Calabrese signing off from usacurl.org. We'll see you in about an hour and a half.